Setting up MariaDB for the weather station. In this module, we will log into the MariaDB server and create a database to store the information that we plan on sending it. First, we will create a database, then we'll create a user who can access that database. First, we want to create the SQL that we'll use to run our tables. So what we'll do is we'll create a file called weather.sql. Now here's what our weather.sql file looks like. And what we're doing is just creating a table called weather.reading. We're creating a reading ID, temp1, temp2, temp sensor average, humidity, pressure, sea level pressure, and timestamp. These are all things that we're going to be gathering from the sensors. So what we'll do is we'll create this set of data fields, and then we'll get it ready for insertion. Save and exit this file. Next, we'll want to create a regular user account for accessing the database. Now here, we'll want to log into our MySQL server as root. To do that, we type in mysql-u root-p. What that means is we're specifying the username with the -u, and the user we want to log in is root, and then we specify /p so that it'll ask us for our password. And now we're logged into our MariaDB database. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a database here by hand at the prompt, and then we're going to import that database in. Now, as you can see, we've created a database. We granted some privileges on weather to web. So that's the username that we're going to use is web@ and then the IP address. And it says identified by secret password. And that's going to be the password that we use to access this database. Then we flush the privileges and quit. Now let's go ahead and log in as that web user. Now we're logged in as the web user. Now we'll type in use weather so that we will go ahead and select that database that we just created. And then we'll type in source weather SQL. And what that'll do is that'll import that SQL that we just wrote. This creates your Maria database for storing items. We will prepare our Raspberry Pi to send this data that we've just defined through the Flask API. Now let's verify the info and verify that the table was created correctly. As you can see, we have our reading table there available. And when we type describe reading, what it does is it shows a description of that table. It shows the fields, the data type, whether they're null, if it's a primary key, things like that. And as you can see, this was created exactly how we wanted to create it. So now that we've successfully created our database, you can type in exit to quit. And this is all we need to do with our database for now. This schema will hold the data for our endpoint. In this module, we created a database, we created a user to access it, then we created a schema to hold that data. Now we're going to set up our endpoint to connect to it.